Robinho, the sad end of a great talent. Robinho had a good starting point with the nickname Little Pele. Even Pele himself has faith in him and believes that he will succeed one day. Robinho had a flawless foundation to reach greatness, but like the vast majority of poor Brazilian players from the street, they rise very quickly and then die just as quickly. Money, fame, and lavish vanity are a deadly poison for dreams, and Robinho is a prime example. Robinho was born on January 25, 1984, to a poor family in São Vicente, São Paulo, Brazil. He started playing football in the slums of São Vicente, and he is seen as one of the best kids. When he was 15 years old with a special talent, Robinho quickly caught the eye of the football king, Pele. He helped Robinho to sign with Santos, and the people there had huge expectations for this young man. With his miraculous progress, people compared Robinho to Pele, including Pele himself. Indeed, Robinho was a talented player. His ability to handle the ball is not inferior to any other player in football history. Even though the first remarks were made, he was not even 20 years old. With fast moves, magic ball handling, unpredictable and delicate techniques, full of wisdom and rich in energy, Robinho fully had the elements of a great star when he was very young. He helped Santos win the Brazilian championship twice in 3 years and reach the Copa Libertadores final. Being famous too early with young players like Robinho is a big threat. After an incident involving the kidnapping of his mother, he was in a state of depression and sadness. Even when everything was resolved smoothly, he still wanted to leave. At that time, the teams in Europe wanted him, and Real Madrid was successful in signing him. He came to Europe with many dreams and was immediately handed the number 10 shirt, and in his first season, he scored 14 goals in 37 matches. At Real Madrid, he performed Brazilian football at a very high level. In June of 2007, Real Madrid celebrated the La Liga championship after a tough season. The royal team made a spectacular sprint to surpass Barcelona and Sevilla. And 1 month later, Brazil got the throne in Copa America. The Samba team defeated Argentina 3-0 in the final. The biggest common point between the two victories is Robinho. It was also the peak of his career as a player, and in that same year, he reached the top of the best players in the world. Then, in Madrid, Robinho started to show his laziness in practice. He did not want to learn Spanish to integrate with his teammates, and his only friend was Ronaldo de Lima. Unfortunately, that time Ronaldo just liked to party, and Robinho was caught up in that spiral and was hated by Coach Capello. Sometimes people met Robinho walking into the training facility smelling of alcohol. At Real Madrid, he was a close friend with Ronaldo, and in the Brazilian team, he made friends with Ronaldinho. In 2007, AC Milan and Real Madrid did not see their two players return to the club. It turned out they were both drunk in a bar after winning the match with the Brazilian team. In the Brazilian team at that time, there were two groups. A group of Ronaldinho and Ronaldo, and a group of Kaká. These groups quickly became famous and full of money, so Robinho quickly joined Ronaldinho's group to compensate for his poverty-filled past. Robinho became depressed to an unbearable level. The following season, Real Madrid wanted to push Robinho to Chelsea, but the deal broke down at the end. Things only got worse when Real Madrid president Ramon Calderón claimed that they will throw him out in any way, not giving him another chance. Fortunately, Manchester City was in the hands of some Middle East people at that time, and they wanted to become a big force in the UK. They planned to pour out a lot of money to buy stars, and Robinho was brought in the last days of the transfer market. This is also the first blockbuster deal of Manchester City at that time, before becoming the big team of English football as it is now. In the early days in Manchester City, people saw a Robinho boom like he peaked before in Spain. The hope for him was getting higher and higher, but Robinho himself extinguished it. The problem was, Robinho considered Manchester City too small for his talent. He thought that he was too good for the rest of the team and showed an arrogant attitude toward everyone. The second season began with some unpredictable performances, sometimes good and sometimes bad. He was not stable on or off the football field. When the games were over, he just partied. and on one occasion he had to spend the night at a police station for the suspicion of raping a woman. Life in England was no longer interesting for Robinho, and the Manchester City leadership was not keen on the Brazilian player, so he returned to Santos on a half-season loan and then was welcomed by AC Milan. In Italy, he also made a significant contribution to AC Milan. 15 goals after 45 matches in the first season, and won the Scudetto trophy, which was not a bad achievement. But once again, Robinho destroyed himself. He did not show much in the following season and was involved in another rape case in 2003. From a player with magical feet, creating amazing performances, he became weaker and more rigid. Leaving AC Milan, he went back to Santos and then went to China for a year. He then returned to Brazil in Atletico Mineiro's shirt, and now he has spent 2 more years playing in Turkey with Sivasspor and Istanbul Başakşehir FK. Although still playing in Europe, the name Robinho has fallen into complete oblivion. At the age of 35, Robinho's playing time is almost non-existent, and his peak was left behind before he can reap the big rewards for himself. Being compared to Pele is not easy, but Robinho lived in that shadow for too long and allowed himself to be complacent too soon. And Robinho never reached the peak as expected. Being famous too soon and dying too quickly is the tragedy of outstanding talent, and sadly, he did not know how to hold himself.